everybody, my name is Hannah. Welcome to my channel. This video today is going to be a little bit different. We're going to be walking through how I use Notion to organize all of my bookish life, essentially. So if you hang on, we'll just jump right on into it. So this is my first time recording something while I'm also like screen recording. So we'll see how this goes. What you're looking at right now, if everything went the way it was supposed to, is my Notion, but it's my digital dashboard, right? So I am pretty straightforward with this. I haven't designed it in a way that's particularly exciting, but where we go from here. So in my Notion, I actually have things pinned at the top for pages that I use often. But you can get to everything from this dashboard. So we're gonna go to my Bookshelvish page, which basically has everything that I ever use for reading, for content creation, for my Bookstagram, for my Booktube. All of it is right here. So you'll see I have the same banner that I have up on my Booktube up at the top. Navigation, there's a lot going on in here. Just random content ideas to write down. Calendar, usually if I'm good about marking my currently reading, that'll show up over here. But because of who I am as a person, that's not up to date. Some post ideas for like one-offs. I have what I call evergreen content, which is basically just repeats that I can plug in and use super easily. Weekly content is things that I try to do every single week. This is a little bit messed up. And then monthly content, this is everything that I try to share every single month. It does not always end up working out. And then over here, you'll see a little bit snippet of my chart, which is my total number of books owned and the percentage of those that are read. Right now it's 32%, and then TBR, which is an embarrassing 67%. And then I have my top 10 of 2024, which I can probably get rid of at this point because it is recorded elsewhere. So I'll just delete that. Then we get down into my like content planning database, which I'm not going to bore you with. We're going to jump directly into my library database, which you can see capped in the back. My library database is right here under navigation. I also have it saved on my sidebar here so that it's easy to get to. And basically, my library database is a completely accurate, the most accurate, up-to-date place where I have every single book that I own, and I try to keep it super clean, super up-to-date. It's not every single part is filled out all the way, but we'll just jump into this. So this is my main page where I just have all of them. I have these sorted right now by most recently edited. So every time I finish a book, I come in here, I find it, and I switch the status to read. I put in my rating, I put in the year. Here, we can open this one. This is Glass Sword. So I finished this 2 days ago, yesterday. So as soon as I finished it, changed the status to read. The author should already have been plugged in from when I initially input the book after purchasing it. Author's Victoria Aveyard. The date acquired. I'm trying to be better about this section now. So now when I'm buying new books, I'm putting in the date that I bought them. That way, eventually I'll be able to look back on my TBR and see what's been on there for forever and what is like more of a recent buy if I'm doing like a challenge where it's like buy the books that have been, or read the books that have been on your TBR the longest or something like that. Anyway, date acquired is empty for this one because I bought this way before I started doing that. I'll put the year that I read it. I like to do this just so that I can pull up, if I'm pulling a report or something, on all of the books that I read in 2022 that I still own. That's easy to do. I'll put in my rating. I have half-star ratings. I don't really do half-star ratings anymore, so it's pretty much just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need to be better about updating this because this is technically part of a series, which is Red Queen. So we'll mark that. Any tropes or features that are part of it, I can put in here. The ones that I stay most up to date on, because I'm really bad about updating this, are Fairy Loot, Owl Crate, Moonlight, or Book of the Month books. That way it's easy to pull what books from those subscriptions I have on my TBR. But this is not from any of those. And then we'll put settings. So this is helpful for me if I'm looking for something specific, or if I, in the future, am doing like a list of book recs or something like that, I can just pull these out. It'll put the date finished. I always mark that as soon as I'm done with it. So I did just finish it yesterday. And then the last edited time is for this page. So that's what determines what shows up at the top on this main database here. And then this number, we'll get into that later. And then person, if I'm buddy reading with anybody specific, I can just mark it here, which is super helpful. Then comments is normally not used, but then this space down at the bottom of the page is where I put my review. If I am good about updating this while I'm reading, sometimes it'll have like quotes I like, thoughts as I was reading, that kind of thing. I'm trying to be better about adding those, but I'm not always. And then, so yeah, you can see all of mine here. Like this book, Magali just sent me, and I got it, I think yesterday or the day before. So you can see, got TBR, we've got the author, the date acquired, so I lied, it was 2 days ago. And then all of this is empty and will eventually be filled out. So that's super helpful for me. So if I'm putting in a new book, I just hit new and then it'll pop up with TBR. Obviously, if I've read it, like purchased it and it's already a read book, I would switch that. But then you just put in the title up here, enter the author, which if you hit that, it'll pull up all of the authors that I've recently done. I have a database just for authors, which I'll show you what that does in a second. Let's go look at that actually. So say I'm looking at all of the books. Let's do a different author. Let's do K.A. Tucker. So if I open up A Dawn of Gods and Fury, which I should currently be reading this one, but I'm not. If I go to K.A. Tucker, right, because she wrote this, it'll pull up her page. And this is every single book that she has written that I own, which is really helpful for me when I'm out book shopping because I can super easily access what books I have. If I can't remember what books I have from one author, I can just look at it instead of having to search individually by each book. And then I have an ARC database, which we'll get to later, but if I have any ARCs by that author, it'll also link. So I don't know if there's any authors of books that I have right now. I mean, off the top of my head, I'm sure there's somebody. I'm trying to think of what ARCs I have. Oh, so let's go to, like, for instance, if we went to Bridget Kemmerer and opened, so as you can see here, those are all the books that I own that she's written. And then if you go in here, I have an ARC of Warrior Princess Assassin. So that'll show up there too, even though Warrior Princess Assassin is from a different database because it's not a book in my library. I just have the NetGalley version. So it's super helpful. I feel like having this integrated the way that it is makes it super easy for me to keep track of everything that's in my library, which having over 1,000 books is very valuable. So we'll just kind of walk through this. So then I also have this chart here, which is the same one that you saw in Mini on my main dashboard page, which just shows kind of the overall. And it has a section for currently reading too, if I was good about keeping that updated. This, I need to rename this view actually, because all this is my numbered TBR. So I said we would get into what the numbers mean. So you can see under this view, I have all of my books sorted alphabetically by author's last name. This is my whole TBR. So only the books that I haven't read, even though I have hidden those categories in this particular database. And then the number is just the order in which they go. So like A Dance of Lies is a new book, so it hasn't been assigned a number yet. Before I film my next video, TBR video, which will be for September, I'll go through and I'll update all of these numbers. So typically what I'll do is just type out like 1, 2, 3, 4 in Google Sheet, and then just extend it all the way down to however many books I have, usually somewhere around 700. And then I'll copy and paste that into here so that it automatically will just bump them all up. And then when I'm doing my random number generator TBR videos, when I spin the wheel, it hits a number, then I just go to that corresponding number. That's the book that's on my TBR. I think it's super helpful. It's also nice for me to be able to see where things are in the lineup, and it makes it a little bit easier for me to locate things on shelves also. The Nightblood Prince is another new one. That's by Fairy Loot. So if I opened it up, you'd be able to see I acquired it July 23rd. Don't have any of that yet, but it is a Fairy Loot book, so I have that marked. And then author's Molly Chang. So that's a super helpful view for me. And then you can see the countdown here. 707. So literally I am only going to be putting 707 or whatever number it is at the time that I'm filming into the number wheel. This is all of my read books. So anytime the status switches to read, it ends up over here. Right now I have them sorted by star rating, but all of my books are in here, even if they're not 5 stars. And you can kind of see this goes all the way back to 2022. Oh, maybe I have it blocked right now. Yeah, I did have it blocked. So if I took this 5-star off, then you would see all of the stars, including ones that I haven't been good about and haven't put in a rating yet. But I'll do that at some point. And then this guy is my Book of the Month TBR. So I was showing you in the tropes features, if I like tag Owl Crate, Fairy Loot, Book of the Month, whatever. This is all of my Book of the Month TBR books. So I like to keep track of it because I do have a goal to get through a certain number of Book of the Month books this particular year. I think I said I was going to read 15, and I think I have read 15. So I'm doing pretty well on that, but this is a good way of tracking it for me if I just want to isolate the book of the month books. It's also helpful because on my actual physical shelves, I have my book of the month books separated. So it makes it easy just to check what things are where. And I think that's pretty much my library database. So other things that I do with my Notion. So you'll see over here, I have a list of favorites. So a lot of that is just pages that I use super frequently. One of those, if you go to Bookshelvish again, I have a page that's just for reading goals. So I go here, reading goals. I don't know why I called it reading goals TBR acquisitions, but that's what we're going with. So this has it for every year. 2025 is marked with a yellow because that's the year we're in now. If I go down here to bookish goals, open that in a new tab, it's basically going to pull up every single reading goal I've had for myself for this year. So, and I try to keep track of it on a month by month basis. So like 25 reading goals, read 52 books off 200, which comes out to about 17 books a month. As of the end of June, I read 96 out of 200. Don't buy as many physical books. Started the year with 652. These are all of the books I bought in January. So 40 in January, 29 in February, 20 in March, 17 in April, 18 in May, 8 in June. Post at least once a week to BookTube, do quarterly check-ins, kind of Monte Cristo, failing at that. And then, this is what I was talking about. Read 15 book of the month books. Read 14 out of 15 as of the end of June. We're going to be at the end of July soon. Have not done so good on Fairy Loot. Have not done anything on Aardvark. And then series I finished this year. From here, if we go back to that 2025 page, you can see this monthly breakdown. I have whatever the current month is saved on the side too. So we're going to go to July. And in July, this is how I keep track on a month-to-month basis of what I've been up to. So I'll have actual reads. You can see all of my actual reads there, just listed by title and then author. I have my list of hopefuls. This list I compile during my TBR videos. A lot of you have seen those and how they work. And I have a legend. So anything highlighted in blue, I'm reading physically. Yellow are ARCs. Orange are Kindle reads, and then purple are audios, but I take away the color once I've actually read them and checked them off. So I read The Art of Racing in the Rain, Check and Mate, and the Happily Ever After playlist, all on audio, but they're obviously checked off. And then I'll keep track of all my ratings. This makes it super easy on myself for wrap-ups. So I'll put 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, 2-star, 1-star, and then any rereads. Anything that's low priority I put down here. These were technically books that I pulled and had on my hopefuls list for the month, but stuff happens. It doesn't always work out. So those are all low priority. And then any books that I've acquired that month, I keep track of here. I also have them on their own special shelf out in my actual library. That way I can keep track of them and they don't get integrated into the main shelves until the end of each quarter. And then here at the end of the month, I put together my totals. So my total number of TBR books, how many books I unhauled, if any, usually it's not any, how many arcs I read, how many books I read, and then what number were off my shelf, what number were a reread, and then any books acquired. And then here, if I plan an order for how I'm going to read them, I'll write it out here. So you can see I've done pretty much the ones that I planned on doing early this month already. I haven't started this one. I'm probably going to finish this today. Hopefully, haven't started this. I have started Heartstrings. These are all arcs at the end though. And then usually what happens is at the end of the month, I'm putting together, so I've already posted my TBR for August, posted that yesterday as of when I'm filming this, but a week ago when you're seeing this. And so my August page that looks like this, obviously I have had no actual reads yet because it's not yet August, but I'll just move over any of the arcs that I end up not finishing. So I'm already kind of planning on maybe not getting to any of the September arcs. So I have Starting from a Land So Wide already over here. And then I just have 15 books this month because I'm sure other things will come up. You can get rid of this. I was keeping track of that for a while, but not anymore. Pretty much what I'll end up doing, honestly. Let's just set this page up right now. We're gonna copy and paste this legend page over here, and then I'll just take it up here, put it on this side, and then all of this is going to be under hopefuls. This can be moved off that way. And then I'm going to try to get everything. I think this is heading 3 and it's gray. So let's do that for all of these. And I think that just makes it look prettier. When I set up everything for my 2026 pages, I will use this template. Honestly, a lot of people tell me that they're intimidated by Notion, and usually that's because I think they're trying to make somebody else's system work for them, and that really just doesn't work, because there's been like a long time where I thought this is how so-and-so is using Notion, so this is how I have to, and I've set things up and then been like, oh, turns out I hate that. But you don't really know that until you use it. So I think Notion isn't helpful for most people unless you're actually using it in a way that makes sense to you. So like beforehand, I would probably keep all of this information in like Google Keep or Google Doc or Google Sheet or something like that. And that's great. Like, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but the functionality of what Notion provides you really works for me. And I like how organized it is. It does take a while to set up and get into the groove of. And you've even seen where I like don't necessarily have like all of the tropes and features filled out and things like that, but eventually it's going to be such a low maintenance system just to make sure that things stay maintained, and I really appreciate that about Notion. Okay, what else can we look at? So those are my monthly lists. Let's see. And my monthly list, usually whatever month it is, I do have pinned to the top also, just because I think that makes it easier. Let's go to, as soon as this finishes loading, we'll go look at my upcoming book box list. So I keep track of what book boxes will be sending me. That way I don't double buy, or if I need to use a skip, which I have yet to use a skip on a book box, I would be able to do that pretty easily. So you can kind of see me keeping track here of my quarterly Romantasy Owl Crate subscription. I don't have details for all of them. I've obviously gotten Q1 and Q2 already. Q3, not yet. Q4, I don't even know what it is yet, but it will come out. I get these from Autumn Reads, I think is her, Autumn Reads Books. I don't remember. On Instagram, that's her handle. And she has like ins with all of the book subs, so she's able to post, usually based off their hints, or sometimes she'll post early of any like confirmed book subscription books, which is really cool. So this for 2025. So like, let's look at July, right? I've already received A Dance of Lies and the Nightblood Prince. You saw those in my library. Arcana Academy is supposed to come. That's the Romantasy Fairy Loot. And then I'm supposed to get Never the Roses by Jennifer K. Lambert from Owl Crate. And then the green basically just means that I know all of the picks from that month. Purple is that I've received all of the books from that month. So like we could make June purple. And then I usually just close it so I'm not looking at it. May, this one got delayed, so that's why I have a note. It'll likely arrive in August, and it's just unchecked for now. And then September, I almost know all of them for September, so that's why it's yellow, because I'm still waiting on something. October, I don't even think we've started to fill out. We have Thorn Season, so that actually should be yellow. And then I'll just keep those open until I know everything, or have received them. And so that's super helpful for me for book boxes, just so that I know what's coming up. I know a lot of people like to be surprised by their book boxes. I don't, because I'll get super annoyed if it's a book that I went out and bought and then I get it in a book box and I'm like, I don't even know if I like this book, so what is the point of having it? So that's book boxes. And then I also have this ARC master list over here, which is essentially what it sounds like, a master list for all of the arcs that I have. So these are just all my unread ones. So basically when we have an arc, I know we already looked at Warrior Princess Assassin a little bit, but it'll have a status. It's either unstarted or read, because I'm not good at marking things that are currently reading. Put the author in, the pub date, and then what site I got it from. So usually I get most of my arcs either direct or from NetGalley. I use NerdFam, that's a PR company sometimes. So I'll just mark it there so that I know where I'm supposed to be putting my review and final thoughts. And then I normally organize all of these by pub date. That way I know who's coming up next. And I try to stay about 2 months ahead. I have been horrible at that recently because it's already it's July 26th right now and I'm still reading for August arcs. But hopefully I'll be back on it. September's a big arc month. I've got 5, but October's less, November's less than that, and I only have 1 for December so far. So it should be good. Sun in the Morning is NetGalley. I don't know why I didn't mark that. And then this, I should actually just rename that because that's completed arcs. And this has all of the ones that I've read already. So you can kind of see all of the pub dates on those, and it's easy for me to go back and be like, oh, look how many I've read this year. I had to put myself on an ARC ban for a long time because I was being very bad about requesting a bunch of ARCs and then not actually getting around to reading them. So this is the first year actually since 2022 that I've been letting myself request things on NetGalley. And my rule is that there are only going to be books that I was going to read anyway. So, and the other thing about using NetGalley, if you're not familiar, is that you have to be super comfortable with getting rejected. Basically just request things that I know I want to read anyway. And if I get rejected, it's almost like a sense of relief for me, which is bad, but because it means that I don't have to put it on this list and I don't have to keep track of it and I don't have to read it by a certain time. Which all of these, it's not like you go to prison if you don't read the ARCs on time, but I really like to, and it stresses me out if I have an ARC and I haven't read it by the time pub day rolls around. So this is just my way of keeping up to date with that. And I think that's gonna be everything for us for now on this. So I'm gonna close out of Notion. We're gonna stop screen recording. So thank you so much for watching. I know this was a different video than what I usually do, but I'm really passionate about books and I'm really passionate about Notion, so I figured it would be fun for you guys to see how I kind of combine the two. I know there's a lot of people on YouTube that talk about Notion, how to use Notion, different features Notion has, but I feel like it's a whole different ballgame when you're able to actually see how someone who reads uses it. And then the other thing that I wanted to tell you guys about while I have you, if you were looking through my library database and you were going, oh shoot, I love this and this is how I would like to organize my books, it's super easy if you have a database to just download a spreadsheet and convert it into a database format. So don't let yourself be nervous about that. I can record another video about that, but really there's probably a ton of YouTubers that already have information about how to convert those. But what I was gonna say is that I have a template for my database. So it's just all of the features that it has, just nothing's filled out yet. So you could personalize it to your own library. I have that template posted for free in the Notion shop. So if you would like to access that, I will put the link down in my description. I would give you like a code or something, but it's literally free. So you don't need one. If you do end up using it though, I would love to hear about how that's working for you. And I'm just so excited. I get really happy when people use Notion because I feel like it's such a great tool and it's so customizable, but a lot of people just find it intimidating. So don't find it intimidating. I have like very little technological knowledge. I can like sort of read an HTML code sometimes, and other than that, I just click stuff and I can figure out Notion. So if I can do it, you can do it. And you don't even need any knowledge like coding wise to be able to put it together. So if you have any questions, comments, you use the database, you don't know how to put your Notion together, whatever, just drop it in the comments, or you can also hit me up on Instagram. That's usually the fastest way to get a hold of me if you DM me there. And I would love to help you troubleshoot the database, talk Notion and books, just talk books, just talk Notion, whatever the case may be. Thank you so much for sticking around and watching this whole video. Again, I know it's kind of different, but I'm excited. Let me know if you like these and maybe we'll keep them up. Thanks so much. Go out and make it a great day. Bye.